Order, call to order.
You're on.
Proposition 1, the end of warfare. Whereas warfare is the worst of all crimes, and that it embodies, encourages, and rewards all others. Whereas the definition of war as used at the Nuremberg trials is meet for the purposes of this proposition. Therefore, we, the party of the first part, all citizens of any nation, all those who suffer from the effects and privations of war, who oppose it as a system, as a behavior, as a socially accepted institution, call for an end to war, cessation of all hostilities, the standing down of all military forces, and universal disarmament. Further, let it be known, we, the people, the party of the first part, here and since 1972, state, country, universe, by our assertion at this time and place that we stand, sit, and roll over as opposed to the existence or use of military force as we now know it. All those in favor of proposition, please signify.
What'd you say?
All those opposed. All those interposed.
Abstentions.
If you want to be in the loop, you can get on the opt-in email list or join the Facebook group. Please be aware you have 5 minutes on the open mic, but this changes depending on the universe in which you exist. And now for the famed door prizes.
Just in case you think this is what it is, it's not. This is from the Southern Poverty Law Center because they sent them donations, and one of the things they sent me was this magazine outlining various kinds of interesting things regarding this individual, the President Dimble. Then there is a sketchbook or notebook, nicely nice. Each of the prizes has one of these inside. They're extra, so it's a double. There is one drawing in here, half-heartedly done, although I can't, well, maybe 2 or 3. But the point is, it's mostly blank. And this is Borgen, top-flight drama author Stephen King on his top TV show of 2012. This is DVDs. The Sopranos, Alan Warno. But this is not The Sopranos, that's the TV. So this is a story about a Greek girls, and they give people hell. Then, from our feature this evening, Mr. Covington, this is a book he'll be reading from. Can you give them more of a wave so they know who you are?
Hi.
Hello, there we go. Feature. This is his book. He'll be reading in part from this, correct? In part from this? Okay. And he
about that book.
Yes, he will sign. And then we have Gina Berold,
Here.
right?
Easy for you to say.
That's right. Afterwards, a novel. Author of Women in Their Beds, Penn, Faulkner, and National something or other. Anyway, Faces at the Bottom of the Well, The Permanence of Racism by Derek Bell, national bestseller with a new preface by the author. And this, just so you want to know, is a birthday card that I found in that bag. So someone must have given this to me to do something with, but I don't know where, how long it's been there. But it's another one like that. So those are the door prizes of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Much though you may be surprised to understand that. Is there anything else?
On with the show.
On with the show. So our keynote, ladies and gentlemen, is the esteemed, wonderful, magical, entrancing, and noted raconteur, Mr. Hal Robbins.
Noted raccoon on tour.
Well, the text I have chosen is the beginning of Coleridge's lesbian vampire poem Christabel, which exists in fragmentary form. In Dejection and Ode, Coleridge talks about how far gone in abstruse research he is, so that it has even destroyed the natural man in him. I wish I had time to talk about vampires here, but I don't. Did anybody ever see the movie Black Sunday? Not the movie about terrorists crashing the Goodyear blimp into the Super Bowl, but the Italian black and white vampire film.
Boris Karloff?
No,
No.
Barbara Steele, an eerie performer who was made for the horror genre. Anyway, just in case, this movie has scenes taken right out of Christabel in it, but I must begin this right away. I'm afraid it won't be to everybody's liking, but it's enough. So here we go. Christabel. 'Tis the middle of night by the castle clock, and the owls have awakened the crowing cock, to wit, to woo, and hark again the crowing cock, how drowsily it crew. Sir Leoline, the baron rich, hath a toothless mastiff bitch. From her kennel beneath the rock she maketh answer to the clock. 4 for the quarter, and 12 for the hour, ever and aye by shine and shower. 16 short howls, none over loud. Some say she sees my lady's shroud. Is the night chilly and dark? The night is chilly, but not dark. The thin grey cloud is spread on high. It covers, but not hides the sky. The moon is behind and at the full, and yet she looks both small and dull. The night is chill, the clouds are grey. 'Tis a month before the month of May, and the spring comes slowly up this way. The lovely lady Christabel, whom her father loveth well, what makes she in the woods so late, a furlong from the castle gate? She has dreamed all yesternight of her own betrothed knight. Now she in the midnight woods will pray for the weal of her lover that's far away. She stole along, she nothing spoke, the sighs she heaved were soft and low, and naught was green upon the oak, but moss and rarest mistletoe. She kneels beneath the old oak tree, and in silence prayeth she. The lady sprang up suddenly, the lovely lady Christabel. It moaned as near as it might be, but what it is she cannot tell. From the other side it seemed to be of the huge, broad-breasted old oak tree. The night is chill, the forest bare. Is it the wind that moaneth bleak? There is not wind enough in the air to move away the ringlet curl from a lovely lady's cheek. There is not wind enough to twirl the one red leaf, the last of its clan, dance as often as dance it can, dancing so light and dancing so high from the topmost branch that looks up at the sky. Hush, beating heart of Christabel, Jesu, Maria, shield her well. She folded her arms beneath her cloak, and stole to the other side of the oak. What sees she there? There she saw a damsel bright, dressed in a silken robe of white that shadowy in the moonlight shone. Her neck that made that white robe wan, her stately neck and arms were bare, her blue-veined feet ensandaled were, and wildly glittered here and there the gems entangled in her hair. I guess 'twas frightful there to see a woman so richly clad as she, beautiful exceedingly. Mary, mother, save me now, said Christabel, and who art thou? And the lady, strange, made answer meet, and her voice was faint and sweet. Have pity on my sore distress. I cannot speak for weariness. Stretch forth thy hand, and have no fear. Said Christabel, how camest thou here? And the lady, whose voice was faint and sweet, did thus pursue her answer meet. My sire is of a noble line, and my name is Geraldine. 5 warriors seized me yestermorn, me, even me, a maid forlorn. They choked my cries with force and fright, and tied me on a palfrey white. The palfrey rode as fleet as wind, and they rode furiously behind. They spurred amain, their steeds were bright, and once we crossed the shade of night. As sure as heaven shall rescue me, I have no thought what men these be, nor do I know how long it is since I have lain entranced. Ywes, since one, the tallest of the five, took me from the palfrey's back, a weary lady, scarce alive. Some muttered words his comrade spoke. He placed me underneath this oak. He swore they would return in haste. Whither they went, I cannot tell. I thought I heard some moments past sounds as if of a castle bell. Stretch forth thy hand, thus ended she, and help a wretched maid to flee. Then Christabel stretched forth her hand and comforted fair Geraldine. O well, bright day, mayest thou command the service of Sir Leoline, and gladly his stout chivalry will he send forth, and friends withal, to guide and guard you safe and free home to your noble father's hall. Her gracious stars the lady blessed, and thus spake on sweet Christabel. All our household are at rest. The hall is silent as the cell. Sir Leoline is weak in health, and may not well awakened be, but we will move as if in stealth, and I beseech your courtesy this night to share your couch with me. So free from danger, free from fear, they both went forth, right glad they were. They crossed the moat, and Christabel took a key that fitted well, a little door that opened straight, all in the middle of the gate that was ironed within and without, where an army in battle array had marched out. The lady sank, belike through pain, and Christabel with might and main lifted her up, a weary weight, over the threshold of the gate. Then the lady rose again, and moved as she were not in pain. Outside her kennel the mastiff old lay fast asleep in moonshine cold. The mastiff old did not awake, but she an angry moan did make. And what can ail the mastiff bitch? Never before she uttered yell beneath the eye of Christabel. Perhaps it was the owlet's screech, but what can ail the mastiff bitch? Then Christabel said to Geraldine, Praise be to the Virgin all divine, who hath rescued thee from thy distress. Alas, alas, said Geraldine, I cannot speak for weariness. So free from danger, free from fear, they crossed the court, right glad they were. They passed the hall, which echoed still, pass as silent as they will. The brands were flat, the brands were dying, all in their own white ashes lying. But when the lady passed, there came a tongue of light, a fit of flame, and Christabel saw the lady's eye, but nothing else saw she thereby but the boss of the shield of Sir Leoline tall, that stood in a murky old niche in the wall. Oh, softly tread, quoth Christabel, my father seldom sleepeth well. Sweet Christabel her feet doth bear, and jealous of the listening air, they steal their way from stair to stair, now in glimmer and now in gloom, and now they pass the baron's room, as still as death with stifled breath, and now they pass her chamber door, and now doth Geraldine press down the rushes of her chamber floor. The moon shines dim in the open air, but not a moonbeam enters here. But they without its light can see the chamber carved most curiously, carved with figures strange and sweet, all made out of the carver's brain, for a lady's chamber meet. The lamp with two-fold silver chain is fastened to an angel's feet. The lamp it burned both dead and dim, but Christabel the lamp will trim. She trimmed the lamp and made it bright, and left it swinging to and fro, while Geraldine, in wretched plight, sank down upon the floor below. Oh, weary lady, Geraldine, I pray you drink this cordial wine. It is a wine of virtuous powers. My mother made it of wild flowers. And will your mother pity me, who am a maiden all forlorn? Christabel answered, Woe is me, she died the hour that I was born. I have heard the gray-haired friar tell how on her deathbed she did say that she should hear the castle bell strike 12 upon my wedding day. O mother dear, that thou wert here. I would, said Geraldine, she were. But soon, with altered voice cries she, Off, wandering mother, peak and pine, I have power to bid thee flee. Alas, what ails poor Geraldine? Why stares she with unsettled eye? Can she the bodiless dead espy? Why now with altered voice cries she, Off, woman, off, this hour is mine. Though thou her guardian spirit be, I have power to bid thee flee. Off, woman, off, 'tis given to me.
Hal Robbins, or Dr. Hal as we call him. All right, I wanted to take a moment here to introduce the co-host of the evening, Sharon Scott, in case we didn't give her a chance to be recognized. Please recognize the co-host of the evening.
Oh, yeah.
She keeps me sane, keeps it real.
Kind of.
Huh? Kind of. Oh, who's the next person?
Britt Peter.
Oh, Britt Peter, bring him up.
Leticia Garcia. Sorry.
Oh, what?
Leticia Garcia.
Oh, Letitia, then Brett, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Sorry about that. Give her a round of applause as she comes up here. She featured here not long ago. Give her a nice round. Come on, people, warm it up out there. All right. And then I'll read the next set of readers and we get organized here and like that.
Thank you, Dan.
Let me just make sure you're framed there.
Well, the first time I was here, I came on a dark and stormy night, and PW and I came, and I read for the first time here. He read for the first time here, or for the second or third time here, and we go to leave early because he has to go to the airport. My car is not where I left it. So, long story short, when I come now to Sacred Grounds, I leave like early afternoon so I can get here and find parking spots before everyone comes home. So my car is guaranteed, unless there's a car thief, not the city car thief, will be there. So I excited to be back here. I was here in March, couple of nights. One was a feature, and I've just been adding accolades onto my name, and it's been just awesome. So the most amazing one, I am now a full-fledged publisher, a Moonshine Star Company. This is my first book. Thank you. It is officially published June 1st, 2018. But I got the email today. It is on its way from the printer. So I'm just really super excited. This is the anthology from the B Street Writers Collective, and I missed my own deadline to submit a poem. As the editor, I was busy doing other stuff, but as editor, you also got to do sneaky stuff. Like in the introduction, there's this poem, and this, what is love? And it could be anything. In this book, it's familial love, husbands and brothers. We have mistresses, we have romantic love, we have existential love, we have pet love, hamsters and rabbits, but there are no mother and no cat loves in this book. And it's like, it would not be the same. So for my mother's 80th birthday, I wrote her this poem. Mother thinks I am a cat lady, that I love cats. Indiana, Ashley, and Puck I have loved. Miho is my current lover boy. Mother's love is best. So, it fits. And then, because I'm also the publisher editor, I get to do some other sneaky things. There's a poem on the last page. And this is the collective words of the B Streeters, and I found out my voice becomes the collective word of the B Streeters, and here's the poem. Love. Love is simple, love is kind. Love forgives every time. Love means being open to what the world sets in front of us, knowing love will prevail in all circumstances. Stay alert, eyes open, capture the signs, observe the lowly, find the specks of love dust, prevailing to make our hearts and minds whole. I don't know, I have a lot of things to brag about tonight, but it's okay, this is just me, my brag. My poem has been selected to move forward in the competition for the Alameda County Fair. I do not know if I even got noticed. Well, actually, I do know I got noticed by the Poet Laureate of Livermore, Cynthia Patton, because last week I read the poem for her, and she was one of the judges that I was like, is this okay? She says, yeah, it's been decided already, but she didn't know who won. So yes, it has been noticed by one of the judges. This is my poem called Passage. If you go to Alameda County Fair, go look for it. But I sent it off for a competition and I cannot publish it anywhere online. So for you tonight, you can get a signed copy and you are allowed to make photocopies of it and hand it out anywhere. It's going to go around the world on a piece of paper. Let's see how far it goes. Let's see how far it goes. I know it's going to Belgium at least because my daughter lives there. So, and Boston, the other daughter. And on and on. But let's hear the poem. Good idea. Passage. I found myself trapped in a struggle between happiness and depression, caught in murk and mud, searching for a way out, praying my stuckness will get shifted. Bricks are my weapons, breaking through glass houses, holding me within safe spaces. Foghorn is my light to navigate through the blinding mist of white blackness. Paint peeling plastic ore drags my boat, threatening to leak upon dormant water. Lake calling, blast baying, glass shattering, releases me from my self-imposed metal, forcing me to choose a new trail, a new attitude, a new aura, prompting a limitless drive to overcome, pushing boundaries released from a delicate bursting bubble, progressing through my meandering. Got to have faith in myself to accept the challenge of building upon the cascading bricks, of breaking through the fog, accepting the call in the dark to guide me in the direction of peace, allowing the rudder of life to right my path. Discovering the dirt supporting my stride to give me the fortitude to release my stuckness. Forging forth, not to the end of my rope, but to confidently trust each stepping stone brings me closer to self-respect, aiding a fulfillment of grace. Breath released gives relief of pent-up anguish, producing calmness, encouraging confidence, reminding me I am willing, I am strong, I am loved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan.
Oh, thank you. So what I'm going to do is read off the next 5 or 6 readers, and you'll notice on this list we actually have like a full set. So try to stay within the 5 or go shorter if you can. So with the next 5 people we have are Britt, Natalie, Rick, Owen, Buford, David, and then Wendy, then Richard, then the desultory Bopper, and Sherrod Scott Kish.
And you have a strange concept of 5.
Yeah. Notice I went like this, and I kept on going. So give Britt a round of applause as he comes up here, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't been here since the last time. We focus this man. Just get really close to the mic, Britt, so everybody can hear your dulcet tones.
5:30:18. Fog and wind, a tumbling leaf, coffee and toast calm. Trump's trochaic entry, talks to himself, does his worst. Here we have other plans. Water the yard, arrange the quilt blocks, subversive industry. Clear agenda, rosin and bow, pick up the fiddle, box moving order against the confused day. This is a mother-in-law poem. I think it's safe. She's 24 years gone. Living with painting. I wanted to write a little poem for the pictures that have hung on our walls all these years. We've kept them, Rose. Student of Sawyer, continuing artist, I like the taste of wildness in them. Wind in the trees, the carnivorous still lives, the tilted houses, the rushed brush work, not unlike Courbet. Idea and urge, slightly subversive, before you fix dinner for an entire family.
Now,
One more.
when you're ready.
Postman, 1958. The moving train, the canvas bags of letters moving across England. But here he was taking a long lunch, feet propped up in the cab of an old green mail truck, reading Women in Love. Wondering at Lawrence's insights, intuitive guesses about Gundren, Gerald, and Ursula. Can we know another person that well? Drifting into a world of deeper impulses, carried along by the wonderful prose and the deft filling in of the landscape. Lawrence writing his Raleigh through the Midlands, page after page, immersed before the lunch ended, the half sandwich wrapped up, the soda finished, time to take the sorted mail out for afternoon delivery. 2. Dreams, good books, Raleigh bicycles. What fired or fires your imagination?
Thank you, Britt. And oh, he's gonna get this. There you go. Hold on just a second. You're gonna get the microphone working. Thank you. I just gave Hal the attribution sheet, so if you read a poem by someone else, I hand that to you, so that way I can attribute the poem correctly. Not always say Charge of the Light Brigade by Gerald Manley Hopkins, who didn't write that, actually. And give a welcome to Natalie, please. Give her a round of applause. I gotta set the timer so we can go off and do a little her thing. There we go.
This is a poem that my mom, Cordelia Vaden, wrote. She's a published writer with the Inlandia publication in Riverside, California. It's called 13 Ways of a Sparrow. High up in the palm trees, among lush greenery, was the joyful song of the sparrow. The sparrow gathered twigs with its sharp beak and pulled silk from the corn in the fields to make a nest. The sparrow shuddered in the warm Santa Ana winds as the fault line shifts. The nestlings of a sparrow are in sync with its mother as she shares an earthworm with them. The beauty of the chirping sparrow, like the Gregorian chant. Purple jacaranda trees majestically line the streets, projecting a soft glow throughout the city. Why do you desire the golden Buddha, when the sparrow is worth more than its weight in gold? Elvis Presley sang a hymn about the sparrow, that it could fly, for God has his eye on the sparrow. When the sparrow flew away, it outlined the edge of many heavens in the universe. At the sight of these heavenly creatures, the sparrow flying high in the sky, even the clouds would cry out to God. For where the sparrow is, I am, up there and free. The sparrow was welcomed everywhere, as he spread love, perched himself at the right of Jesus, made himself comfortable. The river is dry. The sparrow searched for spiritual waters. Then the sparrow will fly. Time stood still. The sparrow flew to heaven, where he basked in the glow of heavenly bodies.
Thank you. Natalie. And now give Rick a round of applause as he comes up here. And then we got Owen, Buford, David, Wendy, Richard, Desultory, Bebopper, and Lauren Bacall, actually. She said she'd be here. Oh, let me just undo this, man. Thank you, Mr. Howe.
Okay. Preacher man. Y'all going to hell? Thump, answered the Bible. I remember only one damn damnation sermon from my childhood. For an adult appreciation, I had to come to a secular university. The campanile donged, barely time to get to my class on revolutions. Louis XVI was to address the Estates General. Hubert strummed the banjo, joined by bohemians who sang, "Jesus gonna shine his light on me." The campanile called me to Russia. To, "Do you speak Russian?" I could honestly answer, not much. People thought I was modest. Ivan the Terrible was a Russian czar. A useless phrase. People knew that anyway. Knowing Russian was a good idea. Learning it was not. Dostoevsky tricked me with The Idiot. The title should have been a warning. Bang, boom, chant. Hubert shared the plaza with indigenous people, presumably Navajo. My understanding of Navajo was far below my grasp of Russian. I imagined, white man off our land, treaty speak with forked tongue, repeated without variation. The white man's legal system had not come to that point of view. Hubert might have taken the opportunity to preach on, "Blessed are they who hunger and thirst for justice." But hellfire was burning his brain, so he missed it. Hubert was due to go ballistic. Ouds strummed, drums beat, one rhythm accelerated to dancing speed, another paced a heartbeat. Dancers with silver bracelet. Hubert grabbed the holy book. He fired at the devil, fiendishly hiding in invisibility. I imagine Hubert launched in a space capsule over the Pacific. I was anxious to see him come down, but the campanile called me to mathematics. Hubert did not reappear. Had he taken the day off? Not so long as there was sin going on. Had the capsule gone into deep space? Finally, I hit the solution. Hubert's parachute had deployed. The U.S. Navy had scooped him from the turquoise Caribbean and helicoptered him to rural Alabama to preach again. My gift to Hubert, if I knew where to find him, would be the Inferno. Dante says it's hard to get into hell. Highly competitive sinners shove at the gates. Dante does not meet musicians and dancers. They're slackers in the hell department, lacking sufficient ambition to get in, although it could happen. Hubert might preach, "The first shall be last and the last shall be first." Revolution in Scripture. America, of which Alabama is a part, has had a revolution. It may be time for another, but without guillotine or firing squad. France and Russia offer lessons. I could have provided historical context if Hubert had backed off hellfire long enough to listen. My Alabama cousin claims that Alabama is the safest place to be in an earthquake because everything happens 10 years later. She lives in an urban area with a university. The clock ticks more slowly in rural areas. Hubert could be the first of the wave, if he's still with us.
Yeah, he's still. Thank you. All right. Mr. Owen Dunkel, Then we got David. Owen, Buford, David, Wendy, Richard, Desultory, Rebopper. The Rebop, thank you. Give him a round as he comes forward, please, and then right down. Let's see.
A dark sun bids the birds of Sunday a chaste farewell. There is no crying anymore. Life is a busy, bossy Trieste. Thorough thoughts living through the quiet day, hoping to someday become a cliche. An entity, a poem like prose. Accord the views of the weather, trees calm for a change instead of windswept, angry at my changing moods. Authority is like an inscrutable oak, much like big business. Sometimes I wonder whether or not it is objective at all, or merely self-satisfied and sure of the fact we are helpless and dull. We are trapped. Of course I am helpless and dull. Stuck up to my knees. But how can I cry out? The answer is like air. Maybe the air is blue, like the striking, stinky sky that I love, and I'm convinced that by looking upward, no harm will come to me. My mind flails its arms and flies upward somewhere, somehow to heaven. Fat roses after reading classic images. Twilight. Sparkled past the twilight. I thought I spoke to the hollow clouds a century ago. Now I know what's wrong with feathers. A few nubile fathers turn their plowshares into baby buggies. As I am proud of my proud dull metaphors, I am very lost, struggling towards someone else's poem. Maybe Hollywood can contain the world. The stained overalls hanging in the sun, the indigo glass in the grass, lying in the sand on the planet metaphor, covered with sand, warm sand that always hears the poet's prayer. Mon Dieu, hear the sound of twilight. I am Dr. Dreamer, torn apart from an opera of red calypso, a red carpet of bad dreams I am glad I am finally awake from. I am glad I am better off than a bad dream, dreaming of a chaos of legs, eyes. Sometimes a chair would show up, sometimes I am puzzled by a surreal mathematica of clowns. Clown costumes and a cynical Krusty smoking a reality cigarette. The clown is noisy, turning the poet into a peasant, duller than a pile of dirt. A dull statesman, not even a fast-talking salesman, begging, staring at the imagination of reality. Yes, the imagination of reality waving at street corners that have never been left behind. Millhouse, two words. Sing along to the holy life, to the holy. Life is fire, the sun looking for a metaphor to call its own. Death is not around, in its coquettish ways with every body life has found.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
And now Buford Bunton is coming up. Give him a round as he comes up, please. And we move forward into the more esoteric realms. All right, as I like to say. Huh? Yeah, always.
Your gents are suffering.
Right.
I said your gents, giants are suffering.
Yeah, I got a little bit about them, not much. This is called Giants and Warriors. Last night, the Giants getting beaten. Last score I know about is 10-4, and then I just gave up on everything. People in Cafe Trieste pay no attention for the most part when Giants are on the screen, except for 3 or 4 of us fanatics.
Let me turn it down there.
Yeah, you had it up. Big thing is Golden State Warriors basketball.
Yes.
Big arena, under construction back here in San Francisco as team plans to clog up traffic. Curry, Durant, and the gang south of Market in a couple of years. We fans, it already looks beautiful, like the half constructed, it's gonna be gorgeous. We fans wait and watch B-ballers throw down in Cleveland and Oakland playoffs this week.
Tomorrow.
Still on athletic theme, this is called Jock. This is about a nice football player. Football player at the high school where I worked. Football player, large swath of ultra curly hair. Nice kid, graduating. Okay. This is about me. Back in the day, 1981 to 2001, I was married to a hotshot woman with long, thick red hair, a librarian. Got published for the first time at San Jose State University, Read Magazine. Library student worker, I was a supervisor there in the library. No longer romantic with my ex-wife. Now she's in New York State with husband number 4. Women drive me crazy or ignore me altogether in San Francisco. Tiny woman turns me down.
Rupert Button, ladies and gentlemen. Who's next? David Adreich. Give him a round as he comes up here. And then we got Wendy, Richard, Marcel, Sharon, and then our stellar feature of the evening. Thank you, David.
First for my grandson. This was April 25th, 2016, followed by one for my horn, which was January 20th, 2016. Isaiah, the player. Daddy's home. He came home last night on the midnight plane. Now everything's right. He'll make me my breakfast, scrambled eggs. In the play enclosure, I'll stretch my legs. 10.5 months, I'm starting to walk. Bubble buzz lips. Well, that's how I talk. I can crawl up the steps or chase Coco the dog. I still can't catch him, but you never know. On Fridays, Grandpa comes over to play. Out in the stroller, a beautiful day, down to the park. There's a bubbling brook, a monarch, a bluebird. Smell, touch, hear, look. Then back to the house to read Goodnight Moon. Now Grandpa's napping, but he'll get up soon. In the garage, Mom and Dad muscle up past the test, doing their exercise, knee to the chest. I love my family, they are the best. After my play date, I'll take a rest. That was by Ben Groen. You remember Ben?
I remember him.
And this one is this is Contrary. This is a con. This was written by Barry Tone. Con to the family, sweet to the tone. It isn't like any other saxophone. It isn't a Selmer, it's not a Yamaha. Picks you up, sweeps you out, takes you very far. Elkhart, Indiana, a century has passed. Reverse your feel and get the feel of where the brass was cast. Con to the Kubla, Cohen to the fair. Cone of existence, it will take you there. You don't need a chauffeur, you need a boogaloo.
your mind in a trance when you see the green and blues. Coleman, Lester, Parker, Coltrane, roaring down the track. Presents don't look forward and it don't look back. Three-dimensional circle that starts at a point. Heart travels through your fingers, energizing every joint. Digit is the number that lets you play your hand. Expands exponentially to the grandstand. Loud or soft, thick or thin, the width of the band is underneath your skin. Head in the clouds, feet on the floor. Now arrange the combo so it underscores the score. Con ain't no hustle, it ain't no jip. It simply holds a reed vibrating between your lips.
You want me to give you a little like a 1 minute thingy or something?
1 minute?
Yeah, you want me to give me a signal of some
Yes,
kind? Like,
please.
all right. But I won't give it to you now because you're not there yet. He's in transit.
Sorry.
It's all right. We
I had my
understand.
neck piece on. I thought I had my necklace on.
Neck
I
piece.
didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't anymore. Sorry. Thank you.
David, thank you. David Erdreich, our oftentimes stage hand. Give him a hand, even though he's not on the stage. And now, Wendy Walters is coming up here, so give her a nice round as she comes up here. I moved that microphone to facilitate the filming.
Ricardo. Richard.
Oh, I love that jazz.
All right, there we go. Shem, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The intensity and care with which you just did that.
This first poem is untitled. Sometimes I do not want to turn on the light. I want to stay wrapped in the soft silence here in the dark, early morn. To rest awake, opening these unknown spaces. What new view might be awakened in my heart today? This poem is called What If? I wrote it one day when I was trailing off on a lot of no's and nots and don't likes and all that. What if? What if something bad happens? What if something just happens? What if I make an unfortunate mistake? What if I learn something truly wonderful and grow into an awake being? What if I forget something important? What if I remember most things won't be significant 10 years from now? What if I don't know what to do in the midst of a situation? What if there is a good possibility that things will somehow work themselves out and often remarkably well? What if I fail to achieve my goal? What if I succeed in changing my life? What if my efforts to change the world do not appear to make a difference? What if the world cannot change? As imperceptible as it may seem at the time, without me. What ifs are a scam created by an idea that would destroy the intuitive instinct to trust. And this poem was written for someone special a long time ago on Christmas Eve. I hope I don't need my glasses, I don't have them. What can I give thee of wondrous delight and use? I would give thee all that would supply the greatest happiness. Not one thing would I leave out for thy good. But there is not one thing which I could bring to thee, for thou hast forsaken the material preference for the better worth of the world. And thou hast embraced with thine whole being the essence of the higher values. Appearances do not deprive your sight of the larger view, that which would protect, sustain, improve, or change. For those elements of transitory appeal and those things which may not be necessary, you know, do not last. For you would be free and satisfied, and yours is the unadorned way which gleams in true simplicity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that. Will the cursive writer come forward? Can I curse?
Yes.
Or I can go. I would be after you. I could go first, or you want to go? Want to go?
No.
Okay. All right. So when I make, just in case you needed time, I was willing to do that. Ego has to do anything. Give him a round of applause. This is Richard Sanderell, otherwise known as the cursive writer. Cursive as in handwriting, not cursive as in, cursing. Thank you.
As usual, everything's coming up here, huh? No way. Does anyone really listen? Writers write, read their shit. Yes. If it even goes in one ear, it certainly will go out the other. There will be no retention, or, well, maybe for a minute or two. You'll dance with the writer's words, or you'll be revulsed, may learn or reject. But you will more than likely forget. Tom waits, but time waits for no words. That's no crow. I want to take you higher, but you can't even hear me. What's that you say? Higher? You want someone to take you higher? Where's my friend? Come to me.
Come to me, my melancholy.
It's called Losing Senses. Common sense, no sense. Visual, perceptual sense, tasteful, insightful. Well, guess what? Suck on my vape so you can get water on the lungs. There's none of that in the above in USA. Another mass shooting. I can no longer cry, care, I'm outraged. In general, there is no common sense, perceptual, visual, or any other sense. I can find no great beauty here, but in the dullard of mind. The beauty comes from flora, fauna, those who still have their humanity, and what the mother favors us. USA, you no longer are the number one in anything but in the worst of behaviors. But you're not the only one. No, but we're the ones who have the power to unleash our ugliness into the world, and we do it daily. Can't celebrate you, USA. Truth is, I never did. Ask me as a Vietnam veteran about the wars of cowboys and Indians. I've seen the children's society's cultures, excluding jazz, born out of the pain from the only truth you produced. Genocider, slaver, unapologetic for all. When having conversations with Europeans, find themselves dismayed, horrified at what they see, hear, the violence. Europeans talking about the video, "This is America." I look at them shocked as why they didn't know about us. The ugly of USA, brought to you today by Monsanto Seeds, will be selling Vietnam 30 to 55% of their seed crops by 2020. We've come so far since Agent Orange. Add it to your stock options today. Buy Monsanto. Roundup for the world. Okay. This is called I Am.
Okay.
I am your light, your dark matter, your balance. I am the angel of good, but would rather be the angel of sin. Boom, ba boom, 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 ba boom. Yes, I am your rhythm, your dance creator, shaker. I'll slay the European dragon who hoards virgins' gold, things that no sane dragon ever needed, wanted. You'll be free to shake from joy, not fear. Ba ba boom, ba ba boom, 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 ba ba boom. I am your crooner, singer, frenzy maker of songs, music. I will howl like the wolf, crawl like the king snake, muddy it like waters, blow it like little waters. Boom, ba ba boom, 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 ba ba boom. I am your storyteller, weaver of human emotions. Want a story? I can make you laugh, cry, cringe. As you ask, I will comply, laying my head on your thigh. As you ask, I will comply, laying my head on your thigh. I will conjure stories to make your hair rise. Boom, ba ba boom, 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 ba ba boom. I am the harvester of love, not its beads. I need love so I can make love. Try it, you betcha. Boom, ba ba boom, 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 ba ba boom, boom. Ba ba boom 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 ba ba boom.
You have been forewarned.
I did forewarn you. Are you forearmed?
Come on, this thing. Am I good? No? She says I'm good. Well,
Find out.
Good to go.
I'll start with my favorite political joke. You ready?
Ready.
George W. Bush.
Yeah! That's hilarious. That's really good.
The gift that keeps giving. They say the same thing about whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna thank you for since he read what he read, I don't have to read what I was gonna read, so I'm gonna read something different. There's a theme to these three things, so here we go. Longing spelled out. In your eyes, I saw so much that one night. There was the moon in its crescent phase, with Jupiter off to the left. And there was Orion's belt glittering just below the slight galactic haze. It was all in there. As we embraced and our hearts beat one with the others, there were whispers, warm breath gracing our cheeks, and how lips touching barely at first, slowly found the nape. Oh, the soft fingers twined Silly, I know, but it was joyful. This, then, is when I forever fell in love with time. Thank you. And there's a theme, and you'll see it as I get to the last one. How she holds me, vast, deep, and spectacular. Her sky of jet, her vaulting great womb, all-encompassing compassion, glistening with galaxies. How she holds me, all above, around, about, in her wondrous, bright blue gaze, as the world turns towards the sovereign's blaze, the fascinating changes as horizons wash with blush. How she holds me in our valley between the ridge lines, their silhouettes, her profiles, yes. Breathe deep the gathering dawn and scent into the wind, touching my face. How she holds me, the light in my lover's eyes, the sparkle there, her gaze before me, upon me. How she holds me, in the warmth of her hands, in her heart, and with nary a whisper from the smile in her words. How she holds me within our hearts, upon our world, forever and ever, on and on. How she holds me. Thank you. And this is this young man here. That's Carlos Ramirez, and he was a poet. He came here very often, and he passed away. And this poem was written for him, even though it was completed after he transitioned. It's called Worlds. It's the optimistic view of things. Okay. Oh, my friends, there are worlds, and good ones, beautiful worlds, so wondrous and full of marvels as to make one weep. There are worlds where peace is all there is, and nature is let to run rampant. The verge is rank with skies and seas full of life. Animals who see your soul's light, with hearts innocent of fear or rage. There are worlds gowned in clouds of delight, graced with rivers of love, where ranges upon ranges of emotional peace rest under the glowing countenance of their moons, dancing in the firmament. Worlds such as songs are made of, as epic poems might suit, where painters upon an overlook could gaze at a life's work set before them. Life is tame, where God is happy. Life is where we'd be glad to be, were we there instead of where we are, dazed and confused by our own earthly illusions. I say, forsake fight and flight, let go of want, our past histories, those unending sorrows, poor reasoning, and martial drums. For there are worlds, this poor scribbler asserts, no artist could hope to convey without a proper preparation, a long, restful life of enjoyment, a million-year picnic. Then they could provide the semblance of one such world. So I tell you, this is a magnificent universe, well made and fit for who but us? Well, or those of our kind. It is like the mystical Ganges with its endless beaches, where each glowing sand grain is a full repository of galaxies strung like beads set in a glowing firmament of stardust. So, there are worlds. And then there's us, and our longing, our song, so profoundly deep and unending that even this grand universe and all of its works couldn't possibly contain it, or so I feel. Thank you.
Yeah. Optimism will out, you know. And now, my wonderful co-host is going to come up, and then we'll have our feature come. He'll be next. Sharon Scott Kish, give her a round of applause. Or a rectangle, you know, if you like the rectangular applause, but that's kind of hard to do, especially with the time zone changes and since the world, you know, since they did what they did.
Oh my God, look who's up there.
I know.
The Lindbergh baby.
Okay.
Are you get,
Well, no, you're good. I thought he said Lindbergh baby, and never
I
mind.
did not.
Okay, you ready for those little kids from Kansas City?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marva Jean Sneakers. That's the topic, right?
Yes,
Sneakers.
yes. And no one's covered it yet, so thank you.
Marva Jean Sneakers. White low-cut Cads, yes. Pedal pushers, white off-the-shoulder blouse, which pushed up when at home, or your father's white shirt. Emmy Lou, all of the funny papers. Of course, some of us are a little small, so the off-the-shoulders don't work. Jeans sometimes with big cuffs, ponytails, big girls with cat-eye sunglasses. Boys have jeans, thin belts, and a Quo Vadis haircut. It's very important to dress like your peers. We spend lots of time looking at the Lana Lobel catalog, circling dresses, full skirts, figuring how to get the slips and the petticoats just starched. The big girls got it down. They use 2 petticoats. Then come hoop skirts for under your skirt. Had to be careful. You had to lift up the skirt and then sit down, much like the little girls did when starched dresses. The boys had duck tails and dark tails, but no private school would let them have it. No horseshoe cleats. Let's go. Let's pull up those pants. Well, here comes summer and it's sandal sneaker weather. Downtown, put on that metal shoe sizer and buy a half a size larger. Looks like you grew a little bit today, Sharon K. Maybe, maybe not. But in your mind, but in the mind of most parents, really not excited about tennis shoes or sneakers, but it does save the cost of ruining good shoes, good hard-soled shoes. The shoe store, I was at Robinson's, and who do I see with her father? Marva Jean Fisher. Her father is looking in the boys department for shoes. Now first off, we're in the 4th grade, and Norma is already 5'5". That's tall for a 9-year-old girl. Her feet are big. And of course, she had to have shoes, and for that, her father had to come with her. They could only go over to the women's section, but no, her father, rigid ex-WW2 vet, fought in Germany, is not having any foolishness with his purchase. He is also the coach for the boys' team. My grandfather always said, and the men in the neighborhood, that he was a big blowhard. So he has her trying on high-top Spaldings in black. White shoes get too dirty. Norma is holding back tears. I really feel sorry for her. In this, I invite her to come jump rope with us tomorrow. She says, okay. She'll see if she can do it after she does her chores. Here we hear the door. Next day, some of us are playing jack, some of us are doing double dutch again, and we hear Marva's screen door slam. Out she comes with what seemed like the biggest pair of sneakers. Oops. Willa starts to snicker. We pull her aside. Not funny. Marva needs our friendship. Marva wore those shoes every day, all summer. And by the end of the summer, our shoes had holes in the toes. Our mothers kept washing them and washing them. The shoelaces, the boys in their big white high tops had the same experience. Not Marva. Those black sneakers refused to wear out. She even wore them to the barbecues and the picnics. She wore them to family schools. God, when are those shoes going to wear out? On the weekends, she would wear them to the piano lessons. Finally, it started to snow, and Marva didn't have to wear those shoes anymore. So, she starts playing sports. Volleyball, basketball, and she is good. Even the boys think she's great. Now that's something. Dance and piano lessons on Saturday, after class all day. Marva's still got those shoes, but she's practicing. She saves it, starts to snow. She doesn't have to wear them anymore, but her father's got her in galoshes with metal fasteners. Now that's funny. As we get older, she did show up for parties, even in high school. She would have on clunky flats, old lady low heels. Marva is excelling in basketball.
Each year she is getting better and better. Off to college, don't really keep in touch. She's on a scholarship. I hear from the neighbors in the grapevine that she fast forwards many years. I attend a wedding in Chicago, and guess who I spot? Marva. Tall, regal, self-assured, together. We sit down and we talk about the old neighborhood in Kansas City. She's moved to Massachusetts, then to Connecticut, having a great life, coaching basketball at a private girls' school and learning everything but the back course mothers. She hates them. I tell her, you're smarter. They need you. She says, yeah, they need these size 11s. She has a daughter even taller, bigger feet, but no black sneakers for her. After a few champagnes, we giggle, and I tell her, you reminded me of Bugs Bunny with those big shoes on. And she cracks up and says, no, I was the Tasmanian devil with the untied shoelaces. Oh, the music is hot. Time after a few champagnes, and here we go to the floor. Electric slide, and Marva is leading, and she is elegant.
Beautifully done. Very good, kid. Okay, so if you can join me again, I appreciate that. So now,
I raise this up, and I'm going to give a brief introduction to our feature of the evening, Mr. Covington over here. He's getting ready. This is the book that he's going to take at least part time to go through and read us, show us what he has here. Now the thing is, what I know about him, I think you've been here like twice before, correct? Twice?
2 or 3 times.
Yeah, okay, so a couple of 3 times, and each time it's been different. The first time he was here, we did the huzzah like we normally do, and he read a few pieces, and then the second time I was thinking, oh, I'm going to hear what I heard before. Well, I didn't. And the third time was the same thing. So he covers different places, different spaces. And when you think of spaces, you can think of the space that your heart holds, the space that your mind holds, what you believe is right, wrong, good, bad about this country or other places, or the small things, what it's like to be on an ocean beach, or a small town in Texas, or a place of memory. He has a sense of humor. He is accurate in how he portrays things. So you say things like, oh yeah, I've been there, I've seen that. Well, you haven't, but he brings you to these places. So you travel while you're sitting still. There's no time zone issues with this man. He is eternal in that sense. So give him a big round of applause here. Mr. Covington!